I'm delighted to be joined for this conversation by the authors of the winning case in the Strategy and General Management category at the Case Centre Awards and Competitions 2022. The case is Amazon Goes Global 2020, and the authors are Jing, Professor of International Business at the SFU Beadle School of Business, Simon Fraser University, and Yong, Professor of Entrepreneurship at the Lee Business School, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. This is a very welcome and well-deserved first award for both the authors and their schools. As you can tell by the title, the case is about Amazon, a story that's been well told and is a popular case topic for many case writers. And I'll be asking Jing and Yong how they came up with a fresh approach in writing this case, what makes it different, and why it is so popular with case teachers. Perhaps I could begin by asking you to say a little bit about what the case is about.
So basically, in this case, we review Amazon's global expansion from 1998 to 2020. And as of 2020, Amazon has operations in 16 different countries. So the beauty of the case is that Amazon has operations in both advanced economies, such as the UK, Germany, France, Japan, and also in emerging markets, such as China, India, Brazil, Mexico. So these countries all present different opportunities, challenges. So in our case, we try to document all the ups and downs, opportunities and challenges, and strategies Amazon had to deal with these opportunities and challenges, as well as their performance in those countries. So we noticed that while Amazon is a market leader in some countries, but they are not market leaders in other countries. So we're able to document all the reasons. We try to document all the reasons behind their different performance in the case. So in general, it provides opportunity for students to understand some fundamentals in international investment strategies, how they enter foreign countries, which country they should enter first, and what kind of strategy they should use in those countries. So this is what the case is mainly about.
Despite its enormous success, Amazon also faced critical challenges in terms of its international expansion. As documented in the case, for example, should it continue exploring new markets? What should the company do with less successful markets such as China and Brazil, right? Also, given the unexpected global pandemic, how should Amazon deal with the ramifications in its international strategy? And so that I hope would give you some background about what the case is about.
And how has it been adopted by teachers in their classrooms? Have you had any feedback, and have you had any response about why it should be so popular?
Yeah, I have heard from some professors. In fact, pretty recently, I heard from one professor. He's primarily interested in international expansion of Amazon's, but at the same time, through our email exchange, we also realized, for example, that the case can also be used to illustrate some theoretical perspectives in terms of international strategy. One obvious question, of course, is, for example, the choice of the entry mode. Are you going to go with greenfield investment, for example, or are you going to acquire a local company, or are you going to build a joint venture with a local partner? Questions of that nature, I think, can also be addressed with the richness of the case.
I have taught the case quite a few times now in our own university, at Simon Fraser University, and both to the advanced undergraduate students and executive MBA. And the case always generates lots of interesting discussions and debates. So, for example, students will discuss and debate on the patterns in Amazon's international expansions, because we have documented from 1998 until 2020. Students will debate on why they start with United Kingdom, not Canada, for example, because Canada is so close to the US, and what kind of criterion Amazon has used to expand, choose the countries they want to expand to, and what kind of strategies they have used to overcome the cultural differences, economic differences, the regulatory differences between their home country or countries they're familiar with, especially the advanced economies they have entered first, and then they have to adapt their strategies in emerging markets where they find more differences with their home country, and also countries they have more market shares, such as in the UK, Germany. But when you go to countries like China, India, Brazil, the story is very different. So there are always lots of discussions, different perspectives, how to apply some of the classical international strategy articles written by, for example, Professor Gamawat. It's about we had to analyze cross-country differences in different dimensions and apply that to Amazon's expansions in each of those countries. So based on what Yong mentioned, they're also they're not only about questions how to deepen your investment in countries where you're already successful, or explore opportunities in countries where you're less successful. So there are not only this kind of choice dilemma for Amazon, where to best put your resources into, but also in terms of their business scope, they're expanding fast in business beyond e-commerce. For example, in Amazon Web Services, how moving forward, whether they should focus more on their rapidly growing business, or they should focus on more their traditional core business in e-commerce. So there are all these discussions and debates are in the classroom. I find students really, we always find that we don't have enough time to discuss all these questions in class. Even sometimes it's 3.5 hours, we still find we need more time to further our discussions.
No, I can see why the case is so effective in the classroom. I'm interested in you saying that you've taught it at all levels, from undergraduate to MBA to executive education. How does your approach as a teacher vary between those groups of students, and do you get different responses from them?
This goes back to the various learning objectives for undergraduates, advanced undergraduates in particular. For example, the case can be used to focus on some of the basic aspects of international expansion. And so I think in this case, the case offers a very good opportunity to understand various aspects of international strategy, as Jing already mentioned, including the rationale for going international, the choice of the location, the choice of the entry mode. And I would say there is another thing that's very interesting about Amazon, that is throughout its 20-year history of international expansion, we can also see this kind of sequential entry across countries, as well as in terms of the product portfolio. And so I would say for the undergraduate students, we tend to focus on those basic aspects. But for MBA and executives, we also would like the students to go deeper and analyze, for example, why some of our subsidiaries perform better than others within basically the same company. And as I mentioned a moment ago, the case can also be linked to discussing some of the more important theoretical perspectives, which might be more appropriate for more advanced students, including MBA and executives.
Yes, I agree with what Yong said. I think for undergraduates, because of their limited working experiences, we focus more on the basics, more about Amazon's experiences, their histories, understand their some basics like where, when, and how they expand internationally. But for graduate students, the focus may be more on what Amazon could do in the future, because lots of them have experience in those countries Amazon has subsidiaries in, and so they could provide more deeper recommendations. They have deeper understanding of those countries and deeper recommendations for how Amazon could be more successful. And some of the students also have even broader international experiences, so they could also provide advice about all those questions I just mentioned. What's the best strategy to move forward? I think the main difference is their working experience, so we have to adjust. And especially in the recommendation in the alternative generation debate section. So I usually based on the students' experiences and divide them into different groups, so they can focus on different countries based on their country experiences, and then they could debate whether, for example, how to deepen Amazon's operations in India. So some students have experience over there, and they understand better about the regulatory environment in that country. So they could have more insights in that area.
Well, thank you both again for giving me such a wide-ranging and insightful overview of the case and the elements within it. Amazon is one of the more popular topics for case writers, and yet you've been very open and insightful in describing the way in which your case is distinctive, has a voice of its own, and stands out from the crowd. And it's a very well-deserved winner of this category. Thank you again for your insight and openness in talking about the case, and congratulations again on your win. Thoroughly well-deserved.
Thank you very much. Pretty honored, and also very pleased to have the case recognized.
Thank you. We're very deeply honored, and this will motivate us to devote more time to case writing and case teaching. This is a very rewarding experience. Yeah.